Hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to our match reaction show. It's finished. Real Madrid to Atalanta nil. I'm just adjusting my camera a little bit there, but nonetheless, good game. I think it was a good game. I think it was a game in many ways a game of two halves. Not necessarily in terms of the fact that one team dominated one half and the other team dominated the other. I don't think you could say that. But I think in the way that the game was played from the first half to the second half, there was a marked variation. If you watched that whole game, you would have probably noticed that quite a bit. That was just completely different. It was, I would say, even up to the 60 minutes, you could have felt that you were watching a completely different game to what you watched in the last 30 minutes, actually. And so it is interesting, isn't it? It is interesting to explore that and to analyze that. But I think what a lot of people will talk about is, of course, Vinicius's performance, which I think was brilliant. And they'll talk about Bellingham's second half performance, which I think was brilliant as well. They'll talk about Kylian Mbappe's goal, which again I thought was very nice as well. But for me, I think that, and we might even talk about Courtois' save, which I think was a standout moment as well. But I think in all of that, what probably might be forgotten is Carlo Ancelotti. I thought Carlo Ancelotti did a fantastic tactical job in this game, and it will get lost. I think a lot of people will look at it and go, Madrid scored in 60 minutes. They didn't have a shot on goal until that point. Their first shot on goal was the goal. Shot on target, rather, was the goal. And then that's Real Madrid, typical Real Madrid. They wake up late, they go through the gears, and they win. But actually, if you look at how they played for that first 60 minutes, I think there was a real tactical masterclass from Carlo Ancelotti because he got tactically outthought in that first half. I would say probably in the first maybe 25-30 minutes. I think Real Madrid Real Madrid were very good in that first 10-15 minutes. They dominated the game. I think Atalanta kind of took a little while to get to grips with the game. I think they kind of were like thinking, okay, maybe the occasion got to them a little bit, playing Real Madrid in a major European final. Kind of got to them a little bit, but once they settled, they were quite good. And Real Madrid, I think, were caught out. And the reason why they were caught out is because of the man marking that Atlanta do. Atlanta, a very famous for man-to-man marking. They put three players, there are three defenders, and all three defenders were picking up three forwards. And I think Roon was picking up Bellingham. So all four front players were man marked. And I do think that because it's not employed so much nowadays, we see more zonal marking. You don't really see man-to-man marking. So I think a lot of even great players that Real Madrid have, I think they're not entirely sure of how to beat the man marking system. But where I think and that kind of got them out a little bit, and so they were kind of starved of possession a little bit. There was a lot of times when they're doing hopeful long balls, they were trying to get catch Atlanta, or Atlanta did really well to deal with that. Where I think the games kind of started to turn is, I think Real Madrid realized, okay, you're going to man to man markers, fine, we're just going to go deeper. So you saw Vinicius started coming and playing as a CDM. I saw Valverde playing as a centre back, and then the centre back decided to go forward. They said, "Okay, fine, you want a man markers? Come and man markers." The defenders started making runs in, because what they were doing was they were trying to positionally interchange and maybe pull Atlanta's defense. It didn't work very well in the first half. Admittedly, I think Atlanta held their shape. They did very well in that first half. They made sure that they were compact. They made sure that they didn't make any mistakes in giving Real Madrid those positions, open positions. And so even though Rudiger made some runs and then Militao made some runs, they weren't able to really penetrate the backline because Atlanta were doing firm. In the second half, I think after the Pasalic chance, I think was a turning point, because had Pasalic scored that goal, it's a fantastic save from Courtois, by the way, wonderful save. If Pasalic had scored that goal, maybe things might have been different. We won't know, but it's a fantastic move. Great cross from De Roon, and really Pasalic, I think he should have scored that goal because he had a free header. It's a pretty nice height. It's a very good pace. It's not like it's coming at him fast. He had time to adjust. It's a wonderful save from Courtois, but I think Pasalic probably should have scored. And him not scoring there, I think it just kind of turned the game in some way. And I'm not saying that missed kind of turned the game, but I think it just kind of skewed the game a little bit and turned it. And it just, gave Madrid maybe a little bit of a kick up that they needed. But they were starting to dominate the game from that point on. And what started to work was that they were starting to find spaces. I think the first half, and towards the end of that first half, I think they were trying to figure out, okay, what is the best, approach to attack? What kind of positions do we need to pick up? And I think when they struck gold was when they put Mbappe out on the wing. Rather than, I think throughout that first half, Mbappe stayed central. Vinicius went from left wing to central midfield to wherever he wanted to go. Bellingham started dropping deeper. Militao started going up, and Rudiger went up. But and Valverde as well, tried to go right or wherever he would. But Mbappe stayed central. What they did in the second half was they said, Mbappe, don't stay central. right? Because Mbappe staying central meant that Hien had to stay central, and Hien was doing a fantastic job of mopping everything up that was coming his way. He had a fantastic game for that first 60 minutes. He was almost unbeatable for that first 60 minutes. But what they did was Mbappe go wide, right? So when Mbappe goes wide, now Hien's got a this decision to make. Do I go wide? Well, no, I'm going to stay central, and that means Jim City had to pick up, Mbappe, and he wasn't that good. So it just completely changed the game a little bit. I like Vinicius's turn into being a quarterback slash playmaker. It's an interesting move, and I wonder we'll see if we will see more of it. But that first goal comes because they've pulled the defense out wide, and they completely stretched that defense. And so it's a fantastic run from Vinicius, and the goalkeeper makes a big mess of it. That kick that he puts through trying to get Zappacosta going. It's a bad kick. It's a bad kick. I thought Musso was okay in terms of saves, but that was a goalkeeping error, because if he doesn't give the ball away in that situation, Atlanta don't get caught out, and they got caught out because Atlanta pushing up. They're trying to attack, and when the goalkeeper gets the ball away like that, it completely doesn't allow time for the defense to reset. And so that's what happened. The ball, gets lost by Zappacosta. He doesn't get it anyway, and they come forward, and it's a brilliant move from Vinicius, by the way. I've got to say, it's a brilliant move from Vinicius, the way he just kind of shimmies, and he took Hien out of the game. That was the first time in that entire game where Hien was completely taken out with that shimmy that Vinicius did just before he made the pass. Once he's taken out of the game, it's really all about making sure that he gets the pass right to Valverde, which he does, and Valverde scores, and it's 1-0. And you knew at 1-0, you knew Madrid were going to win. It just felt like somehow that goal, sometimes goals energize other teams, and sometimes other teams, something happen, get downbeat. But I think sometimes with great teams, they score one goal and they suddenly get the tails up, and they want a second, and they want a third, and that's what happened with Madrid. I think somehow they realized with that first goal, they were like, right, now we've got this, now we know what we have to do, and then we'll keep doing it. And I think Atlanta also lost their heads a little bit. Remember, they don't get to a lot of big finals. Atlanta don't play a lot of big finals. They don't play a lot of big games, and so maybe somewhere along the way, they also kind of felt, okay, maybe up against Madrid, this is a European final. Maybe their heads went down and they lost their minds a little bit. They started going in search of goals, trying to bomb forward too much, and that gave Madrid all the space they needed, and it completely played into Madrid's hand. And from that point on, you knew the second goal was a matter of time. There was a good save from Musso. There was, two or three very good saves from Musso, actually. Between the first and second goals, there were some very good saves. He saved one from Bellingham as well. He saved one uh, from Vinicius. He did make a very good save from Vinicius. He made two, I think, saves from Vinicius. So there's some really good chances, but ultimately it comes again. He and makes the mistake this time where he lets Vinicius run off of him. The ball somehow finds its way to Mbappe, and Mbappe then scores. And that's a photo finish. A good debut match. Get your first goal for Real Madrid. I think that was one of the things that Madrid would have liked to see, is the fact that along with the win, they got to see Mbappe scoring. That was really, really important for them. And it was 2-0. Probably should have won by more, I would have said. But at that point, they were really bossing that game. But they got 2-0, and that was game over. Bellingham got an assist, and that was game over. And really, that was it. That was all she wrote. I think Atlanta had a couple of chances. Godfrey could have got a goal towards the end, but the fact that it was Godfrey kind of tells you the problem that Atlanta had. And the big problem that Atlanta had, for all the enterprising and attacking gameplay in the first half, even the big issue for them was the fact they just didn't have a goal scorer. I think Skamaka was a big miss, because I think as much as Lookman might have got the goals in the Europa final, I think Skamaka's hold-up play really helps, because Ketelaere is not a striker. He's someone who plays behind the striker. So having him play up front, it meant that they had nobody who could hold up the ball, because Lookman is someone who runs onto balls. He's not someone who's going to hold up the play. So not having Skamaka, I think, was a big miss, because they had nobody to really hold up the play and bring others into it. I think Lookman missed that as well. So eventually, that was, so as much as they were doing lots of good attacking play, they just had nobody to really take that game, take that offense with a scuff of its neck and really hold on. And that will be a problem for them coming into this season. I think they will struggle, because Kamaka's out for quite a while. They don't really have a like-for-like replacement for him. And what's with Kamaka out means you have to play De Ketelaere as a striker. You lose what he brings to you as a number 10. I don't think De Ketelaere should be playing as a forward. So I hope there's some tactical shift that's happened. Maybe play a 3-5-1-1 instead of playing two strikers up front. But they need to change something, because it didn't work. Offensively, it just didn't work. Like, they just didn't have a lot of conviction in attack. There were a couple of breaks that they had. The Pasalic chance, of course, was a big one. But even Lookman had a couple of breaks, but he just couldn't do much with it, because there was no focal point for Madrid to get distracted by, so that Lookman could actually make runs. So there was a lot of onus for him to pick the ball up from deep and try and make runs, and it just wasn't working. Which was sad to see, but because I was rooting for Atlanta. I mean, I like Real Madrid. I like them more than I like Barcelona. So I do like them, but I was hoping Atlanta could win today, because it's nice to see them win. But It just wasn't to be. And once Madrid got in front, you knew they were not never going to go behind. But it was a tactical shift. It was a tactical shift for Madrid where they realized that they couldn't play the way that they were playing because they were just marked out of the game. So the offensive players had to figure out what to do, and so they started coming deeper. They started pushing the defenders up. They tried to take them out of position. Once they figured it out, and they figured out what Atlanta were doing, they were on it, and Atlanta had no answer. And that, of course, I think, and what I think it shows is that you could have good tactics, but you need to have good players to execute good tactics as well. Atlanta didn't have that. Madrid had that on the day, and they picked up the win. Style very, very much. The last 30 minutes, I think, was a Real Madrid exhibition in many ways. It felt like a preseason friendly. Those last 30 minutes, the way Real Madrid were playing, and they looked really, really good. And that, I think, is going to be ominous signs for everybody else for me, because now when you look at that Real Madrid side, remember, Endrick didn't play in that game. Modric, Brahim Diaz, who's the other one? I think Alaba. Alaba, I don't think played either. And you got Modric and Brahim Diaz came on the subs. And you still got Lucas Vasquez. You still got Arda Güler. They've got so much depth. But they've got so much depth in this. I think Hoslo. I'm not sure if Hoslo is still there, but I think if he's there, then they've got that one as well. So they've got a lot of players. They've got a very star-studded side. And Kamavinga didn't play either. So they've got so much depth. They've already got so much star power in that first 11, and then they've got so much depth behind it. And what's great about this Madrid team compared to other Galactico iterations is that a lot of good players are actually playing in defense and midfield. It's not like all the star power is in the front lines. You've still got the likes of Kamavinga, Tchouameni, Valverde, Bellingham, Modric. They're star names in their own right, and they play in midfield. And then the defense, of course, you've got Militao, Rudiger, you've got Alaba. Maybe they need another centre back. I'm not sure if they can get one, but they probably want one. They might want a replacement. And they've got the right back situation with Carvajal. I know Vasquez will be able to do a job there. They might look at that as well. So they've got options. And I think Madrid will be very, very excited by that. And Madrid fans can have reason to be very excited. Yes, Barcelona will be there or thereabouts, probably, just how La Liga is. But Madrid just looks so well balanced and so well stacked. And they're a young team. And they are a young team. And the commentator pointed out as well. The oldest player after, they've got Modric, Carvajal, and I think forget who the other one is, but they've got a couple of players, and Rudiger, the three players who are over 30. You could include that Alaba is also over 30, but other than that, it's just such a young team that's going to last. It's going to last for a long time. So it's interesting. It's an exciting time. If you're a Real Madrid fan, it's an exciting time to be a Real Madrid fan, because they will be favorites for the Champions League. They will be favorites for the World Cup that's coming. If that happens, I hope it doesn't happen. I don't want to see it happen, but if it does happen, they will be favorites for that as well. And they'll be favorites for La Liga as well. So it is an exciting time. Whether they can win all of those trophies, I'm not sure, and I think it's too early to say now. But they will be challenges. And I think that's the fun part. I think Manchester City will be probably their closest challenges coming into the new season. But Real Madrid are well balanced. They're well balanced. They're well stacked, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see. But I think talking about this game itself, I think there will be a lot of pleasing performances. I think Mbappe getting a goal is a massive, massive plus for Real Madrid. You always, even if you're a whether you're a world class player, whether you're a young player, you always want to get that first of your way quickly. The first game, you want to get that out of your way quickly. The first goal, you want to get out of your way as quickly as possible, because then you get on a run and then you start achieving things. So I think from that perspective, I do think that Real Madrid will be happy that Mbappe scored his first goal now and that he's on his way already. They'll be very pleased with Vinicius' performance. I know there's a lot of talk about Vinicius going to Saudi Arabia. That was never going to happen. I don't think that will happen. Unless Vinicius wants to go, I don't see that move happening. And I don't think Vinicius wants to go. So, and he looks happy. He looks like he's enjoying himself at Real Madrid. So I think he'll be very, very happy there. But he looked fantastic as well. He looked very good and put in a good performance as well. Today he was very good as well. Probably missed a goal, but other than that, he was just excellent. And Jude Bellingham, I thought, put a good performance in that second half as well. I think in the first half, Jude Bellingham kind of struggled a little bit because maybe of the Euros, maybe the fact that he was playing in a position that was not the same, alien for him. The man marking probably wasn't that good as well. But in the second half, I think something was told to him by Ancelotti, and he started running with the ball. He was like beating players. Players were trying to tackle him. He was beating the press very easily. He was going past the press quite well. So that second half performance is what he's probably going to hope to replicate more and more in this coming season, because I think that is how he will have to play. I don't see them playing the 4-3, the 4-1-2-1-2 that they were playing so much last season. I don't see it. I think it will be a 4-3-3. The only question is if when Kamavinga comes back, Will they put Valverde on the right wing, or will it be Rodrygo on the right wing? That I think will be the question. But otherwise, I don't see. I still see it being a 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, however you want to call it. That's the formation that they will be playing, and because Mbappe will play as a striker. Injuries and fitness, of course, permitting, of course. So Bellingham is going to have to get used to a new position, because last season he was pretty much the false nine, or a number 10 behind the split strikers. This season he's going to be playing as a number 10, but behind one striker. So it's going to be interesting to see how he plays. It's going to be interesting to see how Real Madrid adapt to that, because they had three midfielders plus Bellingham last season. Now it's going to be two midfielders plus Bellingham. So Bellingham is going to have more added defensive responsibility on him, more playmaking responsibilities as well. Now that Cruz is gone, so there are things to consider for Real Madrid, and there are things to consider for Jude Bellingham as well. But he looked good in the second half, and that's what he's going to have to replicate. But otherwise, I think it was an easy night out for Real Madrid. They never really looked threatened in attack. I mean, aside from that one Pasalic chance, I can't remember too much that Atalanta did that was troubling Real Madrid. They did get a hold of the midfield for a brief period of time in the first half, probably for 20-25 minutes, and they looked good in that period. They just couldn't make that dominance count because they had nothing up front to really work off of. So that was there. So I think Real Madrid's defense will feel happy with the way they pretty much managed the game. And the midfield, of course, stepped up in the second half big time. But I think it was a good workout. And look, in some ways, technically, this is still preseason. So, you don't want to read too much into it. But at the same time, you win a trophy. So, I think from Real Madrid's point of view, it's an evening well done. It's a job well done. Anyway, yeah. So, congratulations to Real Madrid. Super Cup, sixth win now for them. The most in history. Nobody else has won 6 Super Cups, and Milan and Barcelona have won 5 each. Now, Real Madrid have surpassed that, overtaken that. So, congratulations to them. Congratulations to Ancelotti. Another trophy for him. Another trophy for Real Madrid. Will they win the Champions League and La Liga next season? That's, I think, the big question. And right now, it would be hard to bet against them, because I've seen Manchester City play a couple of games. I've seen Liverpool, I think, look very good, but Liverpool against Real Madrid always seems like Real Madrid have the slight edge. City haven't looked that good in preseason. That, of course, could change, because there's a long time more to go before we get to the business end. So things can happen, injuries happen, players get signed, all of that happens. So it is still too early to say whether Real Madrid are going to win the Champions League or La Liga, because I think Barcelona will come back, and they could do well. But at the moment, we are well placed and well set to challenge on all fronts. And I think that is the exciting part about being a Real Madrid fan. Certainly more exciting than the fans of a lot of other clubs. So anyway, congratulations to Real Madrid. Share your thoughts on the game. What do you think about the game? Like I said, I thought Ancelotti did a fantastic tactical job. I think that'll be lost in all of that, but I thought he did a fantastic tactical job. I was impressed with Jude Bellingham in the second half. Very impressed with Vinicius Jr. throughout this game. Even when he was getting marked out, he really, turned into some sort of playmaker. Like, he's trying to evolve his game, which is very, very good to see. So very impressed with him, and great for Mbappe to get a goal as well. So lots of positives for Real Madrid alongside the trophy win. Definitely a lot of positives to take. But share your thoughts. Share your thoughts on the game. Would love to hear what you have to say about it. And do remember to smash like on this video if you enjoy it. Love your support, and do subscribe to our channel if you're watching this for the first time. If you're new, please do subscribe to our channel. We appreciate your support. Getting very close to 450 subscribers, so would like to cross that mark if possible. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon. Bye bye.